First, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to go over a little bit about who I am. Then I'm going to go over some common marketing questions that we get from a lot of clinics. I'll cover the top 12 things that dental offices do in order and how you should do them, as well as some common marketing mistakes that we see from a lot of dental clinics. Then I'll cover the top marketing FAQ question. Next, I'm going to explain a little bit about doctor marketing, and then I'll go over some case studies that we have done from other clinics on how their marketing is performed throughout North America, actually, because we do service clinics from all over the world. So just to kind of explain a little bit about who I am, I'm the owner of Doctor Marketing. I've been running it since 2014. And I've been in dental, really, since 2008, working in both advertising and telecom. And so since then, my company, since actually 2014 when I launched, my company has won a number of awards both from Google and from Meta, which is Facebook, for the work that we do for our clients. But what's interesting is that the awards we win are competing against everybody else in the marketing industry, people that service contractors and lawyers and doctors and pretty much everything else under the sun, and we're still winning. It just means that the work that we do for our clients is actually working. Now, the common marketing questions that we see a lot, there are 5 questions that come up more than anything. The first question that comes up the most is, how much do I spend on marketing? What's your budget? Next is, what platform should I use? Should it be Google, Facebook, print? How should I market? Next is, who should I promote my ads to? Who should I market to? Do you know the geographic location of the people that are coming to your clinic? What's their postal code? Do you know the demographic information? Is it more men or women? What's their age range? What's their marital status? Do they have kids? That's really important to know. Next question, how do I rank higher on Google? It's a big one. And then my personal favorite, if I'm spending money in marketing, why am I not generating leads? Another way you could ask that question is, I am generating leads, but I'm not generating quality leads. So how do I get quality? So I like to have a little bit of an interactive presentation, so I do like to ask questions. And so outside of these 5 that we typically see 99% of the time, does anybody have any additional questions outside of these?
How about in-house marketing?
In-house marketing?
Recalls and so forth.
Yeah, I'll make sure I cover that. It's in the presentation. Yeah, I'm going to cover all these, and I also cover that. Yeah. Okay. So the top 12 things that we do for dental clinics in order, and things that you do yourself. This is how you do it. Domain names. Now, domain names are tricky. There are 2 types of domain names. There's business name domains, like brandondentistry.com. That's how people who know you are able to find you. Then you have keyword-based domains. Keyword-based domains are tied to a specific service, location, and industry. So as an example, I could register emergencydentistmississauga.com. So if somebody goes online and types in emergency dentist Mississauga, and I own emergencydentistmississauga.com, I have a very good chance of showing up for that person's search. So typically what you want to do is register a couple different domains and point them to different pages of your website to help draw traffic. So you could want some for implants, some for Invisalign, some for Crown and Bridge, for CERAC, for Emerge, for pretty much anything under the sun. But you want to make it specific to the things that you want to see, because domains have a cost and they add up. I think the biggest amount of domains I've ever seen a dental clinic register was over 300. That's a lot, considering the average domain is like 40 bucks, right? Now, under this, you also see the word competitor as a keyword-based domain. So what I would do, if I was a competitor of yours, an aggressive one, is I would register a variation of your domain, point it to mine, so when somebody Googles you, I show up. It's a very aggressive form of marketing, and you're not going to get in trouble for doing it, because it's a masked domain. As long as it's not your main domain, you're okay. So as an example, your domain is ABC, mine is 123. You register 123, point it to yours. As long as 123 is hidden, you're good. So you could register basically anybody's domain and point it to yours. So if you're getting a lot of competitors showing up when you Google yourself, it's probably what they're doing. Now, to prevent your competitors from doing to you what I just explained we could do to them, you want to take a preventative measure. So I'm not sure if you can see that. I know the font is a little bit fuzzy, but you want to register the top 6 suffixes. A suffix is like a .com, .ca, .biz, .io, .dental, .ortho. There's tons and tons and tons of different endings. There's about 10,000+. And really, there's only 6 that are most recognized in Canada: .com, .ca, .biz, .info, .net, and .org. So you want to prevent your competitors from registering those 6. So basically, it's going to be the same: brandondentistry.com, brandondentistry.net, brandondentistry.org. It's a preventative measure. Yes, there's a cost to it, but it prevents your competitors from doing to you what we're going to do to them, basically. Now, for keyword-based domains, you only need one variation, just one. Points to that one page, you're good. Once you have Emergency Dentist Mississauga pointed to the Emergency Dentist page, you don't need another one. Next is security. Domain information is public knowledge, which means I could find out who owns abcdental.com. I can scrape all your contact info from it: your name, your address, your phone, your fax, your business name, your business address, and every other fact about you. It's public knowledge. So what we want to do is we want to put a security blanket over that information, and it basically redacts it all. So if I ever Googled you and Googled that domain, I couldn't see anything. It basically helps cut down the amount of spam you receive. Now, usually domains can be 20 or 30 bucks from GoDaddy or Toot Cows or Namecheap or one of the other domain providers. They're fairly inexpensive. Security for domains can usually float between 15 to 20 bucks per year per domain. So most domains can float anywhere, depending on the ending, from about 45 to about 60 bucks. So just be careful if you're doing keyword-based domains, because they can really add up. Does anybody have any questions on domains at all? No? Okay. Next are emails. So there are lots of different endings for emails: Gmail, Yahoo, Rogers, Bell, TELUS, Shawbiz, all these different endings. These are free email accounts. Free is typically associated to spam. If I was a spammer, I'd set up an email account, spam 1,000 people, set up an email account, spam 1,000 people. So what ends up happening is if you have one of these email accounts, you have an odd of going into the spam box of about 70%. So you email a patient, 70% of that is going to end up in their spam box. Not because of something you did, not because of something the patient did. That's just how free email accounts work. Now with custom email accounts, it's only 12%. So if you don't have a custom email, you should probably set one up. info@brandondentistry.com is an example. Now aside from it going into spam less of the time, it actually looks more professional. So as an example, we work with Coulter's Mill Dental based in Thornhill. I don't know if anybody knows them. So I'm not going to show you their personal email, but this was an example of what the dentist's old email was: dentaltemp101@gmail.com. That's how they were emailing patients. Wasn't working. You email a patient from an email that looks like that, incredibly fishy. So we set up the new email account. And what's interesting about these new email accounts is you can actually take the ending, plop it into Google, and have it populate your website. You can't do that from dentaltemp101@gmail.com, but I can do it from that. Now, a big thing about these email accounts is that they're HIPAA compliant. It's not a big thing here in Canada. In the US, it is a big thing. It basically is a security protocol to make sure the patient information stays secure. And so there's a lot of extra add-ons that we do for medical emails that you should add to your personal emails. So one of the big things is data backup. You accidentally delete something, you can restore it. Malware protection. This basically fights against viruses. If you get an email with a virus in it, that email, and you click on it, that virus stays in the email and doesn't migrate it to the computer. Anti-phishing software does exactly what I explained up here, but it does it for your benefit. It means if you get an email from a known spammer, it goes into your spam box and not your inbox. Email encryption. If I send you an email, you can't open it unless you put in your email password. Now there's 3 levels of encryption. There's standard TLS encryption, which is through Microsoft Office solutions, or you can get it through G Suite if you had a custom email. Basically, it means that any email you send or receive is encrypted. There is also manual encryption. So it means you have to manually encrypt every individual email by putting an encrypt protocol basically in the title, brackets encrypt. You send it, they can't open it unless they put in their email password. And then there's a login encryption. I'm sure a lot of you have logged into your financial services provider who sends you like financial records. It's through a separate portal. You have to set up a separate account. That's like the ultimate type of encryption. All three of them, you're okay with. Going to be no problem with any sort of like HIPAA or compliance issues. Does anybody have any questions on emails? Okay. Now, the website. Let's get into it. Everybody has a website at some point. Wix, Weebly, WordPress, GoDaddy, Google, everyone has some form of a website. You've done it yourself or you've hired someone to do it. Now, let's say your website was built on server A, and server A was pretty good for its time. 6 months later, the company is going to say, I want more money, the website hosting company. They're going to decide to move all their staff and start building server B. And then 6 months later, they're going to move all their staff and they're going to start building server C with state-of-the-art technology, automations, security, kick-ass websites, everything. Now the problem is that you're still on server A. So what ends up happening is it stopped being maintained, which means that if somebody clicks on it, oops, nothing's loading. Or there's a map link that's broken or another widget that doesn't work. Or security license that's not properly renewed. Or, oops, nothing's here, 404 page error. I'm sure some of you have seen these in your time. And that's how they get you. That's how they get you to pay to upgrade your website every 6 months or every couple of years. They stop maintaining the server it was built on. So, what you should be doing is you should be building a website based on newer technology. It's a form of technology called React, R-E-A-C-T. It basically adjusts your website based on the screen size of the user. So if you don't have that, you should probably talk to your web developer to get it done. Yes, it might be a little bit expensive to do it, but it's worth it because you can get tablets, desktops, mobile devices, all in different sizes. So a React website will just auto-adjust it based on the screen size of the user. So you can see here, you can't really see it, it's a little bit blurry, Whitby Family Dentist, but here it's stacked Whitby Family Dentist. So based on the screen size, it will auto-adjust even the words. It's pretty cool. Does anybody have any questions on web design? Okay. Next is optimization, everyone's favorite thing. Now there's two forms of optimization. You have static and dynamic. Does anybody know the difference between these? No? Static optimization are keywords that are built into the code of your website. These are keywords that are never going to change. I'm a dentist. My name is Brandon. This is my office. I do cosmetic dentistry. These are my hours of operation. These are keywords that are built into your code that will never change. Then you have dynamic. Dynamic optimization changes frequently based on search history and search volumes based on how people are finding your website ultimately. So basically, let's just say your website has 30 pages. Each page has 100 keywords. Each keyword ranks at a scale of 1 to 10 based on how much traffic it generates. And so what ends up happening is dynamic optimization will remove keywords that don't work, replace them with new ones in hopes that every keyword ranks high. The higher each keyword ranks, the higher the page ranks, the higher the overall website ranks. This is why dynamic optimization is a paid service. Now, whether it's static or dynamic, there are some specific places on your website that you want to optimize. One of them is in the tab of the browser. Another place is in the URL suffix. So after the .com or .ca, those are keywords. Another place is the navigation tabs. These navigation tabs show up on Google. So if you've ever Googled a business and seen like under the title and the link, home, about, services, contact, right? So direct links to pages, that's what that is. Then you've got the page header. This basically summarizes the page for Google, tells Google ultimately what the page is going to be about. Then you've got the page description. This provides Google with a synopsis. You Google a business, there's a link, there's a URL, or there's a title, there's a URL, and then there's a short description. That short description is that. So you got to make sure it's very clear for Google. Then you got the content. This is where it starts to get a little bit finicky. So everybody thinks that they should have 50 pages on their website. One for snoring, one for sleep apnea, one for halitosis, periodontitis, gum disease, wisdom teeth, and pretty much everything else. The problem is that these pages don't generate traffic on their own. They might all generate 10 views a month. But that's a problem because if you're not generating traffic to these pages, it drives your overall website ranking down. So what you need to do is you need to combine them. So if we're talking about dental conditions, combine all the conditions. If you want to do something about cosmetic, then put veneers together with teeth whitening and bonding, right? If it's restorative, crowns, bridges, implants. Combine content so that way it has a better chance of drawing more traffic, okay? And so typically what you want to do is you want to look at the keywords in search history and push the content that's most searched to the top of the page. Because you don't want to put stuff that, like for this particular dentist, he gets a lot of traffic for snoring and sleep apnea, so we push that content up. But if he were to get, let's just say, a lot of traffic for halitosis, that would be on the top instead. Instead, it's at the bottom because he doesn't really generate a lot of traffic for it. Now the keywords.
Now if we have a topic, let's say halitosis, and you are running an ad for that, you want to direct traffic for Google searches, how to deal with halitosis.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be advantageous to have its own page? That way you can link it with the ad?
Yes and no.
Direct click?
What you're talking about is building a website and then factoring in marketing, right? What you need to do is you need to start with something, look at the analytics to see if people even want to engage with you for halitosis before a halitosis page is designed, right? So what you don't want to do is you don't want to start advertising for something that you don't generate traffic for. But if you want to generate it, like if you specifically want traffic for halitosis, build out a separate page for that and then point traffic to that page, right? So you got to figure out what you want and then basically design the website as such, okay? Now the keywords. Keywords have to be page specific. Does anybody know what a bounce rate is? I'm sure you've all heard of it, somebody leaving your website, right? So page specific keywords. I'm on the conditions page. If there are keywords on this page that have to do with dental implants or crown and bridge, let's just say I'm a patient. I type in dental implants in Mississauga. I come to the conditions page. I'm like, what the hell is this, conditions? Okay, I'm going to bounce out. The more people that bounce out of your website, the lower your ranking on Google. Okay, so this is why your keywords have to be page specific. If it's about conditions, keep it about conditions. If the page is about implants, keep it about implants. Invisalign about Invisalign. Okay, I'll come back to this in a couple slides. Next is local business schema. There's a newer form of technology. Nobody knows what it is. Basically, it has to do with Google Maps. Anybody use the word near me when you're Googling something? Or close to, or around, or by? That's what that is. So it allows Google to basically scan your website to say, oh, this person's a local searcher. So if I have a dental clinic over here and I'm a new patient, I'm like this dental clinic near me, that's the closest option to me. Google's going to have this clinic show up first on my search. That's what local business schema does. It helps you find more local business around your clinic. The closer the patient is, the higher you're ranking towards them. So, understanding Google. There are 3 spots to Google. Okay, you have the sponsored, which are the ads. You have the maps, which has to do with local business schema. And then you have the organic, which has to do with keywords. Now, to understand keywords, it's not just simply Googling a business and saying, oh, they're on page 4, oh, their service doesn't work. No, it's not that simple. It's based on search history, it's based on your search history. If we have different IP addresses, my search history versus yours, what demographic information is available online, there's a lot that goes into figuring out search results and who shows up first on these results, okay? So, let's just say there's tons and tons and tons of keywords, cosmetic and dentures and emergency and all that fun jazz. So what we want to do is we want to take a keyword, we want to put it into Google, and what we want to have happen is that page specifically talking about that keyword show up. So in this instance, you can't really see it because it's a little bit fuzzy, but there's an indent here because they have one subpage showing up, orthodontics. I typed in orthodontics, that's the only subpage they have showing up. The reason being, because if I click on it, I find what I'm looking for in one click right from Google. Orthodontics near me. Oh, orthodontics page, perfect. Oh, cool, I wanted braces, done, contact. That's how simple it is. Okay, I say it's simple, but it's like extremely complicated to figure out the keywords that go behind it, right? Does anybody have any questions on this? Good. Means I'm doing a good job. Now, does anybody know what a conversion tool is? It's a chatbot. Another conversion tool would be a web form on your website. I'm sure you all have them. Or on a mobile device, it's a click to call now button, right? Those are conversion tools. It's a way that somebody gets a hold of you. Now, there are two types of chat systems. You have a live chat and a chat bot. Live chat requires an agent to physically respond. It takes up a lot of time. A chat bot is an automated response unit that responds based on either text or based on buttons that are clicked, based on answers that they're ultimately looking for. So how this works is you build out a bunch of scenarios. And the scenarios can be either categorized or they can be specific. Categorized meaning like endo, perio, restorative, preventive, that sort of thing. Specific could be procedure specific. Could be about emerge, could be about cracked teeth, it could be about root canals or lingual braces, inlays and onlays. I don't know, you can be as specific as you want. Then what you want to do is you want to build out a story for each one of those scenarios. So what's the bot going to say when the person clicks on it? Just keep in mind that you don't want to give all the information that's on the website. You're not copying and pasting. It's a streamlined version. They want quick answers. Then what you got to do is you got to build it together. Now this looks simple, sort of, but a true chatbot is probably about the full size of this entire wall behind me. That's how complex these chatbots go, because if they select this option, these options show up. If they select these options show up. This one shows up these ones, and then you tie them all together. And so how it works, let's just say I'm talking about cosmetic here, and at the end it says, you want to book an appointment, learn about veneers, bonding, or teeth whitening. And they say, you know what, tell me about veneers. Okay, perfect, here's the info about veneers. Now, do you want to book an appointment? Do you want to learn about bonding, teeth whitening, or something else? And they say, you know what, let's book an appointment. Chatbot says, okay, can I have your name, your phone number, your email, best time to call, and main reason for call? Then what ends up happening is you get an email that looks like this. Your staff gets an email. It basically says, hey, call this patient. Here's what they're looking for. Here's their contact and their chat history. Now, it can get very complicated even sending this, because if you have multiple clinics, there are certain chatbots that can send responses based on the location of the person submitting the response. So you can have your chatbot leads kind of going to different offices. Pretty cool. This is how it looks. Very simple. So you can have either one that responds through text, or you can have one that responds through buttons that lead people down a specific path. Anybody have any questions on this? Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Are there any demographics that you would not suggest a chatbot for? Like for myself, I work with a lot of seniors. Would they kind of see this and get upset?
You work with a lot of seniors?
Yes.
Oh, no. So like, there are chatbots that are specifically built for dentures as well, right? I'm not sure if it's dentures. Okay, yeah. So there are chatbots that are specifically designed for dentures. Typically only about 10% of denturists actually use it. It just depends on how old your demographic is. Because usually there's like a cutoff for that kind of stuff, and if your average demographic's older than like 75, I probably wouldn't. Okay? Sorry, what was your question?
What are some of the names of some chatbots?
Oh my God, there's so many. Instabot, chatbot.io, Dr. Marketing. There's Amy.io. Oh, there's a bunch. You basically just go to Google and you type in chatbot service, but just understand not all of them offer automation. So some of them, like a lot of them, are live chat systems. If you want an automated system, which pretty much like everyone wants nowadays, so you don't have to like make mistakes and things like that with like typing things in, those chat systems can be a little bit more expensive. Yeah.
How effective are they at?
They're pretty effective. I mean, think about it. You got people visiting your website. Not everybody wants to submit a web form. Not everybody wants to call you. Some people choose to they want to have a conversation with someone without actually talking on the phone and without submitting a response and waiting for a response. So sometimes chatbots are actually very, very effective. I think for us internally, for doctor marketing, our average clinic, if they're drawing traffic into the website, generates about 25 leads a month just from their chatbot. So it's quite a bit, right? But mind you, it's a conversion tool. So if you're not generating traffic to your website, there's no point in having a chatbot, right? You got to fuel the fire. So you've got to, yeah, what's your question?
Yeah, don't you think that making it too complicated? I mean, it's a problem.
No, it's not complicated. It's actually only about, I'd say before somebody submits their info, they only go about 8 or 9 levels deep. Which means they say, hi, welcome, are you a patient? No, I'm not. Do you want to book an appointment? No, I don't. Okay, what are you looking for? Cosmetic. Okay, here's the info on cosmetic. Oh, do you want to book an appointment for teeth whitening? Yes, I do. Perfect. Info, goodbye. It's about the average, right? It sounds complicated, but it's not.
Lost in translation, you know what I mean?
Not at all. It doesn't get lost in translation, because if they get bored from this, then they're going to just give you a call. Like, honestly. Okay, so you got the website, you got it optimized, you got the domain, the email, the chatbot. Now you want to start fueling the fire a little bit. So, best way to do that is through directories. Unfortunately, there's no good directory service out there unless you work with Dr. Marketing, okay? Now, is anybody familiar with what an aggregator is? Probably not, eh? So Yellow Pages is an aggregator. There are tons of different other aggregators out there. Yellow Pages is called a consumer aggregator, which means that you work with them and they will push your information out to other directories like Yelp. Unfortunately, Yellow Pages only works with a very small handful of directories. I think only 5 or 6, something like that. And they charge you like $70 a month just to be on their directory. Now, there are directories out there that deal with local, national, and industry-specific directories, okay? And so what you want to do is you want to work with these directory or these aggregators to basically push your information out to all of their different directories, okay? The reason you want to do this, aside from getting one random patient from Yellow Pages or Health Grades or RateMDs a year, it helps your Google ranking in 2 ways. One, if your Google My Business page says Brandon Dentistry, but Yellow Pages says Brandon Dental Clinic, and then Yelp says Brandon Dental Office, you're going to get big X's across Yellow Pages, across Yelp, and across any other directory that has the wrong information when compared to Google. And that's for the name of your business. That's for your phone, fax, your email, your physical address, hours, industry services, and website link. All of that has to be accurate from Google across the entire internet. The more accurate your information, the higher your ranking on Google. Now, the secondary benefit is that it creates a backlink. I'm sure you've all heard of these, or a citation. It's basically a link that leads to your website, not from Google. That's why it's called a backlink. The more backlinks you have, the higher your ranking on Google. So not only is the accuracy important, but a complete profile is also important. Any questions on that? Good. Next, reviews. Fun stuff. So, there are 4 ways to generate reviews. Does anybody know what they are? Ask for it. Great. Next. No? Survey. Yes, number 1, survey. That is the best way to generate a review. The reason why is because you can gate it. It's not technically allowed from Google, so if they catch you, you say, I'm sorry, I didn't know, and then you come up with another way to generate reviews, okay? So basically, a survey, how it works, you have a custom survey on your website. It's a special link that you should have that's not visible through standard navigation, because you don't want standard website users just coming and leaving you filling out surveys. And so what you want to do is you want to keep it off the grid. So you take the survey, you put it into your patient software, or you send it manually to patients post-appointment. They get it, they click on it, goes back to your website, they complete the survey. The survey scores above 90%, it'll redirect the patient to Google to leave you a review. If it scores below 90%, it just says, thanks for the survey, have a great day. This way it keeps any negative comments offline, okay? But what's really cool about surveys is that they don't just generate reviews, you get feedback. So whether the survey comes back positive or negative, you're sent the survey so you can do an internal evaluation. Next best way to generate reviews, sign in the waiting room. One of our best clients, you go back in his operatory chair, he's got a sign on his roof that says, please leave us a review, right on the ceiling. So patients literally just do this while they're talking to him. It's great. Simple sign in the waiting room though, QR code right on the reception desk, 2 to 3 reviews every month. Now, the next 2 ways are not recommended. Ask for it during the appointment, okay? Imagine, hey, would you mind leaving me a review? You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be incredibly awkward. Like, don't do that. Next, and this way is not recommended as well, is to send an email post-appointment. This differs from the survey. The survey is a link that gates it. This is like, hey, Simon, would you mind just leaving me a review? And by the way, here's the link for our Google page. That's a dangerous game because you don't know what that patient's going to say after they leave your office. So don't do those last two, because if you're going to do this one, it may as well just be a survey. Now, the reason you want more reviews, 90% of people are influenced by them. I know I personally don't go to a steakhouse unless it has a 4.7 or higher. So now, don't respond to a review negatively. Don't throw the patient under the bus. Don't release medical information in the review. It will get you sued. Do not do that, okay? If they leave you a negative review, unbiased response. Hey, thanks for the review, positive or negative. We do want to make sure we try our best to help every patient. Please give us a call at our office. Here's our phone number. You notice I didn't say I'm sorry. You don't say sorry because it admits fault. Don't do that. Now, there's 4 types of people who can leave reviews. Who are they? Happy ones. I mean, more specifically, there are 4, I guess, like 4, like aside from patients. Aside from patients, who are the other 3? Anybody know? Staff. Staff can leave reviews. What it's like working for you. Vendors can leave reviews on what it's like when you pay them, right? Hey, leave me a review. I just gave you $20,000, right? And yourself. How many of you in the room right now have left a review for your own clinic? Show of hands. Nobody. Go online right now. You can leave it on Google, Facebook, Yellow Pages, Yelp. Why not? Hey, this is my company, you know, I'm a great dentist. Come see me. I have a great smile. I'll make you smile too. I don't know, come up with something. Give yourself 5 stars. Like, why not? And get your family to do it too, right? They work with you, so why not? Now, all this is set up, we start fueling the fire. We want that fire to start being fed. You have the conversion tool set up, the directories are good, now we know where the traffic's coming from. But the problem is that we don't really have traffic. So the best way to do that is through Google. There are 5 questions that come up on Google. What procedure should I promote for? Which keywords should I use? So you know what, let's actually run through this. Procedure, I don't know, teeth whitening. Keywords, well, there's 3 types of keywords. I know I'm always like 3, 4, 5, 6 questions, whatever it is, but there's a system for it. So 3 keywords, there's broad, exact, and negative. Now a broad match keyword, let's just say teeth whitening. So it could be 1 or 2 words. So teeth whitening is a broad match keyword. Doesn't matter what sentence I type in, as long as the word teeth whitening is in there, my ad is going to show up. Best teeth whitening provider near me. Is teeth whitening worth it? Is teeth whitening expensive? Does teeth whitening hurt? Are there teeth whitening kits that I can take home? As long as that word teeth whitening shows up, your ad is going to appear. That's a broad match. An exact match is the complete opposite. It's a sentence. Best teeth whitening provider near me. So unless the patient types that in, your ad will not appear. Then there are negative keywords. Negative keywords are keywords that you do not want to show up for, like free, cheap, affordable, ODSP, I don't know, stuff that you don't want. So we got our keywords, we got our procedure. Best time of day. Typically you want to advertise 1 hour before you open, 1 hour after you close. Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, let's just say. What content? The patient types in best teeth whitening provider near me, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Your ad is going to show up. What's your ad going to say? It's got to get results, right? Could say Brandon Dentistry, cosmetic dentist, teeth whitening. Could say new patients welcome. Call today, take-home whitening kits. In-office whitening, professional whitening, Zoom. It could say any number of things. New patients welcome, same-day appointments. Could say it. And pretty much anything. So you got to come up with a bunch of different combinations to figure out what gets the best results. Now the best question here is budget. What should your budget actually be? There's a couple different finicky things here. So let's just say within 3 to 5 kilometers around your office, there are 50 dentists that are promoting, and each one of them is on average spending $500 a month for teeth whitening, okay? You have to spend more than the average, $600 or $700. You don't have to go crazy and spend $50,000, $600 or $700, usually about 20%, 30% more. That way you're almost guaranteed to show up. There's no guarantees in marketing, but you're more guaranteed to show up than your typical dentist. Now aside from the location, you also have to figure out the best keywords and times of day. So let's say Teeth whitening Mississauga between Monday to Friday is $100 every time someone clicks on it. After 5 o'clock, that could drop to $5 a click, either because there's no competition promoting after 5, or because the keyword is less likely to convert after 5 o'clock. So if you don't have an appropriate budget, you can't bid on the right location, so you might have to shrink it. You can't bid on the right times of day, or you can't bid on the right keywords. So if you have a lower budget than what's typically recommended in dentistry, just understand it's not going to sacrifice the quality of lead, it's going to sacrifice the quantity of how many you actually will receive. Does anybody have any questions on this?
How can you find out when the best time is to?
Your clinic is the best time, your clinic hours. You don't advertise at 12 o'clock at night or 11:59 or whatever time it is if you're not taking calls.
CHATBOT's working.
CHATBOT is working, but that's what organic placement is for. So if people find you at 9 o'clock at night and nobody is there, the CHATBOT is there. But you don't want to advertise when people aren't there, because then it's way less likely to convert. Your lead acquisition costs go skyrocket. Okay. Speaking of lead acquisition costs, since we just brought it up, there is a lead acquisition cost and a patient acquisition cost. Typically in dentistry, a patient, to get one paying patient, is about $150 to get a paying patient through the door. Okay, that goes for dentures, Emerge, hygiene clinics, dental specialists, everyone. It's about $150 on average. Now keep in mind that procedures like emergency procedures, you're going to get a higher closing percentage. It's like 80% closing percentage. Patients don't care. They want to get their tooth pain to stop. Then procedures that are more cosmetic based, right? So teeth whitening, implants, Invisalign, braces, stuff like that, it's a lower percentage, it's about 15%. But if you factor in every type of lead that you generate, all the clinics across Canada, on average, is about 40% close rate. I don't know if your close rate is higher or lower, but depending on your clinic, great for you, but the average is about 40%. So $150 per patient, which means that your average lead can float anywhere between about $45 to about $75. Okay, so if you're not spending between those numbers, you got to evaluate what you're doing. Now, Facebook and Instagram. Google is very good at generating patients now because they're online, actively searching for answers. If they're on social media, they're actively trying to be engaged. Okay? So social media is really a complementary service. It's not really so much a lead generator. It can be if you can target the right types of people, and depending on your specialty. Dentures, it's probably more effective to do social media than it would be for you to do Google Ads, because elderly people are typically on social media more often, okay? So social media is great at generating followers. Followers will turn into patients eventually, okay? Google will generate patients now. So when we do want to do social media, there's a few things that you want to do. One, update your social media profile. Whoops, zoomed through that too quick. So you want to update the logo, you want to update the cover picture, the description, the contact information, your hours, everything. Then you want to update the automated messages. So Facebook has a very similar automated message like a chatbot. Hi, welcome to our page. You want our hours or contact info? Next, you want to set up a pixel. Pixel's Facebook's analytics system. It basically tells you the demographic information of the people who engage with you. Very simple. Their age, their gender, their marital status, if they have kids, their religion, if they like Harry Potter, it literally tracks everything. Because then what you do is you take the top categories and build posts targeted towards these people. If you have a lot of people engaging with you that have kids, target them, build a post specifically for them. Then engage with them. If they like your post, like one of theirs. If they comment, reply. If they share, share theirs. This is what it means to manage a social media profile. You have to do these bottom three. It is cyclical. You look at the data, you create the post, you engage. You look at the data, you create the post and engage. Over time, your averages are going to be a lot better. You're going to know who your audience is, and then you're going to target the right types of people. Now, once you have a history of creating content, you want to start promoting on Meta. Meta is just Facebook's way of advertising to compete against Google Ads. And so, what you want to do is you want to select your audience. So those categories I mentioned, age, gender, marital status, kids, job status, things like that, you basically take the top categories, merge them together to create an audience. Because chances are, if a married father of two who's a manager at a bank likes your contact or likes your page, chances are there's other married father of two in the same geographic region that would fit that description who might also like your content in your page. So after you build your audience, you want to create a post targeted towards these people. Now there's something called an A/B test. Build 2 ads, target the same group of people. Which one performs better, then stick with that one. Okay? So you build a couple different types of posts targeted towards these people. Then what you do is you got to figure out the time frame and the budget. So, time frame. When are these people online? Monday to Friday from 6 p.m. until midnight. Okay? The budget is depending on how many times you want to appear to them. Then you got to engage. So, you're going to get a hell of a lot more likes on posts like this than you would on a standard Facebook profile post. Standard posts are only promoted to your followers. These posts are promoted to everyone in a geographic region. So there's a lot more likes. The best one we've ever done had like 40,000 likes on it. Okay? So you have to make sure, though, that when they like your page, or like your post, you invite them to like your page. You can do that through meta posts. Very cool, because that's how you generate more followers. Does anybody have any questions on Facebook or social media? Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest. Okay. Now, every system I just explained does something different. Your website data will help you track where traffic is coming from. It will also help you track where the most top pages are on your website. So is it implants? Is it contact? Where is it? Google data is going to tell you the times of day and the keywords that people are searching. Facebook data is going to tell you the demographic information of the people engaging with you. So what are you going to do? You're going to combine them all. So if Facebook tells me it's more men that are engaging with you, I'm going to change your imagery on your website to coincide with men. If on Google we find out that people are looking for implants at 8 o'clock at night, I'm going to create a Facebook post for implants at 8 o'clock at night. That's how it works. Now, the longer the systems ultimately run for, the better the average is, the more streamlined the content and changes are ultimately going to be. Now, complementary marketing efforts. These are things that work best in tandem when all the other stuff I just mentioned are set up first. Email marketing. This is an internal form of marketing. Sending out a newsletter. How many of you do that on a regular basis, once a month? Got one. Two people in this entire room. Send a newsletter right now, and I promise you, you're going to get a handful of people booking. Use your dental benefits before they expire. Do that right now. As soon as you leave, just schedule it for Monday. Get them on board, get them in. Next, internal brand development. See my little guy here? I don't know if you can see him on my name tag. Internal brand development, right? Best thing around Christmas time, if you deal with kids, have a Christmas tree in your lobby and have dollar store presents. You're going to get a patient for life. I promise you're going to get a patient for life. Imagine that kid going under the Christmas tree and picking up a $3 toy that you got and wrapped from the dollar store. The parent is not going to expect that, and the kid will remember you forever. That's what it means to create a brand. Memorable experiences. I get so passionate about that because somebody did that to me, and I'm like, I love that. But it wasn't at a dentist. It was actually at a barber shop years ago. I still remember that to this day. Content marketing. This is creating a blog post. Everybody knows about blogs, but they don't know how they work. Lots and lots of keywords for dentistry. Then you've got the top 20 questions. Dentures versus dental implants. Are dentures right for me? I don't know, random question. Let's just say that's number one. You take that question, you build a 1,500-word essay around it, optimize it with 100 keywords, plop it on your website. The next time somebody Googles, are dentures right for me? Your blog is going to show up. That's how blogging works. It's an extremely effective form of search engine optimization. Next is print marketing. It's pretty standard stuff. Not through Yellow Pages, though, not through newspaper. Print marketing, postcards mailed out through specific postal offices, thinking zip codes. It's not zip codes. Postal codes. That's the one, postal codes. I deal a lot with the US, so I'm trying to remember postal codes. Okay, photography and videography. I have a videographer here. He's recording me right now. Hired him. He's going to put this on social media. Do the same for yourself. Go record yourself doing a presentation or talking to your staff or dealing with your patients, doing the work, or patient testimonials, testimonial about yourself, testimonial with your staff. Put it on social media. Why not? People want to know who you are. Try to stay away from stock as much as possible and use personal images on your website and social media. And then public relations. How many of you have ever applied for, I don't know, Reader's Choice Award? Anybody? 2 people. Do you have any idea how effective that is? I have a clinic that we work with in Nobleton. She's won it like the past 5 years straight. You Google anyone, a dentist in Nobleton, she shows up #1 any search. Every single search, she's #1. And there's like on her one street, no joke, within like 2 kilometers, there's like 15 dentists. Like just going straight up the street. So do some public relations, apply for some awards. Now, as a bonus tip, work with a professional. Try to stay away from doing this stuff yourself. If you get into it, quit what you're doing and come work for me, you'll make more money. So, as a bonus tip, we always recommend that you need to be updating the content, images, fonts, styles, colors, keywords. You need to be fixing errors on directories, adding yourself to new directories. You need to be updating and renewing domain names and security licenses. You got to attract media, write blog posts, and you got to manage your social media, your print, your ads, and more. This is what it means to manage a marketing strategy for a clinic. Now, anybody who's worth their weight in gold in this industry needs to make sure of a few things. One, the person you work with should be HIPAA compliant. Again, it's not a big thing in Canada, but it makes sure that your patient information stays secure. Another big thing is that they have to know the content behind the procedure. I'm sure a lot of you have seen content on websites. Oh, come to us, we're a great dentist because we're a great dentist, because we're in Ontario, because we're a great dentist, right? There's content like that. It's another thing entirely to say, hey, here's what an inlay or an onlay is, or what pinhole gum rejuvenation is, or what lingual braces are, and how to explain it in a way that's not going to get you in trouble with the association or college. Vital. So, common marketing mistakes, there's a lot. So I bullet point form them for you. So, biggest issues, incorrect phrasing. Do not use the word best, love, or state of the art. Next, testimonials. Do not place written testimonial on your website. It's treated as a statement of fact, but you can't actually prove who wrote something. I can literally go on your website right now or on Google and leave you 50 reviews from different accounts. And then you take those, you put them on your website. Is that legitimate? No, right? Not responding to reviews. I'll get to your question in 1 second. Not responding to reviews. It makes you appear as though you don't care about what your patients have to say. And then responding aggressively to negative reviews. Don't want to do that either. You had a question?
The testimonials, is it okay if they're linked on the bottom of your website?
Shouldn't even be linked.
Okay.
You can say, hey, please check out our Google reviews, but don't actually link, or don't actually have the text itself. Don't do that. Yeah. Next, incentives. If you offer an incentive, scrap it right now. With the exception of dentures, you can say a free initial consultation. What I'm talking about is free stuff like, hey, free teeth whitening for new patient exam. They're there for the incentive, they're gone when you try to recall them in 4 to 6 months. Groups and associations. Do not list any study groups you're part of, continuing education courses you take, or positions that you hold at an association. Can't do that. Next, contact info. Incorrect title or designation. I laugh. There's a clinic in Utah that I work with. What was its title? Supreme Dental Ruler. You cannot call yourself a Supreme Dental Ruler, okay? So, dentist, DDS, DMD, DD for dentures, whatever it is, okay? Also, do not have multiple websites for the same clinic. It appears deceptive and you'll get blacklisted by Google. And then directory mistakes. Fixing your phone number is vital. I work with a clinic in Florida, and literally another clinic claimed their, 411 page and put their phone number. So it was like the name of my client and then their phone number. And so that was bad. You don't want to do that. It's costing you business. Next, marketing. Promoting for services you don't offer. Plagiarism, even from the CDC, you can't do it for COVID. Improper explanations, and then improper budget, both too low and too high. If it's too low, you're not going to get the results. If it's too high, you're overspending on basic stuff. That's why when I explained the patient acquisition and lead acquisition costs earlier, you got to stay within those spectrums. Now, top marketing FAQ question. What should your budget be? Anybody know the percentage of what your budget should actually be for your clinic? Oh, you're so close. I'll tell you in just a second. So we interviewed 100 marketing companies over the last year and put together their averages. So website design, it's usually between $1,000 to $5,000 to design a website, template versus custom. Custom emails, which I explained earlier with the preferred ending, is usually between $10 to $100 a month, depending on the security features and the amount of space. Next is the chatbot. Usually it floats between $50 to $300, depending on if it's a live chat or an automation. Next is directories. So that's fixing the problems online. Usually it's between $50 to $300. The survey review booster. That's usually between $50 to $300. That's the custom survey you send to patients. They complete it, redirects, that thing. Next is search engine optimization. Surprisingly, static, which doesn't change, is free by most providers. Dynamic is a paid service, usually between $250 to $500. That's the keywords that change on an ongoing basis. Social media depends on the number of posts, usually between $250 to $500. And then ad management. So ad management usually floats between 15 to 25%. So if your budget's $10,000 a month, you're spending $1,500 to $2,500 to manage the $10,000. So usually they're separate budgets. Okay? If it's $1,000, then it's only $150 to $250. Okay? All in all, it's between 1 and 4% of annual sales. Very close. So this can vary. If you are a specialist or get a ton of business from referrals, you are booked 6 weeks in advance, or you just can't take on anymore because you're retiring, you will be spending less than 1%. If you just hired an associate, just built out a new operatory, or a new hygienist is on board, or you just want to get busier because you're only booked 2 days in advance, you may be spending more than that. Basically, that number correlates to the number of operatories versus active patients. If those numbers aren't in sync, you either could be spending less or more. Now, new clinics are going to be spending 100% because they're wanting to grow, right? So over time, that number should be equal to 1 to 4%. Okay, next, about doctor marketing. Just so we're on the same page, okay? We are a full-service marketing agency, so I just want to kind of give you a little bit of info here, just so you kind of understand what we do. So you need anything, you basically come to us. Next, we only work with dental clinics. That's all we do. We work with hundreds in Canada, lots all over the world. So you have the expertise of working with someone and a team who know everything about the industry and how to market you and what not to do. Next, there's no contracts. Start today and tomorrow. I haven't lost a client in 5 years. The client I did lose sold to Dental Corp, so it doesn't count. Next, we save the average dental clinic 22 hours a month. That number is closer to 31 this year. 31. It's not the end of the year yet, so I can't update it. Now, we do like to take our time, be easy to understand, and offer effective and efficient service. Okay, it's our mandate. And what's really cool is that we've got partnerships with Google, Facebook, GoDaddy, Microsoft, and Constant Contact. You can find us on their websites. So honestly, if these billion-dollar companies trust us, I think you should too. Just a little quip there at the end. Now, in terms of services, everything I just explained, domains, emails, websites, graphic design, review booster, chatbot services, social media, Google Ads, everything online. We do everything offline, buses, benches, billboards, radio campaigns. I just designed a window decal for someone's, they had 10 windows, got the installer to do it and everything. We've got contracts with Canada Post as well. You do mail-outs, we got a 40% discount, right? So anything offline and online we do when it comes to marketing. The only 2 things we do not do, patient recalls and patient software. Now, I did put together some case studies for you. So where these clinics are, location, how many years they've been with us, types of marketing that they do, average monthly leads, and then their monthly budget. It varies from clinic to clinic. Not everybody is the same. Google Ads doesn't work for everybody. So it's really your job to kind of understand the analytics before you make any leaps into marketing. Start small, look at the analytics before you jump into advertising. If you can't figure out like the geographic location, the keywords people type in, or the demographic information of the people engage with you, get out of marketing right now. Stop doing it until you understand those details. Now, as a pro tip, we always recommend start basic. That's what I just explained. So search engine optimization, Google Ads, Facebook, Instagram, print marketing, and email marketing all need to take a back seat. Start small, because what you don't want to do is say, hey, let's do a Google Ads campaign. Perfect, give me your money. And then throw it against the wall. See, that worked. But look at all the wasted money on the floor. This is why you have to be more strategic with your budget so you're not wasting it. That's it. I have all the pricing and stuff. I can talk to you offline about that, but does anybody have any questions at all about this?
What email marketing platforms do you suggest currently? And for new clinics, how do you ensure that those emails, especially being sent to multiple patients, isn't going to spam?
So there's two. MailChimp and Constant Contact are typically the best. You should look at your patient software because sometimes they have built-in email marketing services as well. So if you don't have one that's built into your software, you can use either MailChimp, but it's expensive, or Constant Contact. We have a partnership with Constant Contact, so when you do work with us, you get a massive discount on their service, just so we're on the same page. Spamming, they only send emails if you send them. So typically the rule of thumb is one a month, and then you leave it at that. And if they're not a patient and they're in your system, you got to basically remove them. So because you can't be that, then you're starting to get into CASL compliance. That's like email spam, and that's where you get, like, if you get a complaint and there's an issue, it's like a $50,000 fine, right? So you don't want to do that, okay? So patients only, but if they're not a patient, you can email them. I think it's 3 times. Once of that, you're out. I think it's 3 times. I have to look at that, but yeah. Does anybody else have any questions?
How do you decrease the bounce rates?
By doing everything I just said. You got to build the website the correct way, optimize it the correct way. You got to make it engaging to keep them on the site. You got to keep them engaged once they're there. If they bounce out within about 12 seconds, that really gets your bounce rate up. So you want to keep them on for more than 30. It's like the goal, which is why you want the conversion tool, because if they're on there, then they see the chatbot, they're going to stay on there filling out the chatbot, right? Or videos, that sort of thing is also very good. Also keep in mind, content is for Google, not for the patient. You can pack your website full of content and imagery, but just understand the average patient will decide in about 30 seconds if they're going to contact you. So it is not built for the patient. You're putting content on the website for Google. Load it with keywords. Okay, I think that's it. I think we'll call it now. But I'm going to stay up here. I'm going to answer some questions if anybody has any personal stuff that they want to talk to me about, okay? Excellent. Thanks, guys.